Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Coffee and Crayons. Coffee and Crayons is our virtual meeting place for adults to have a conversation about our childhood dreams. I am your host, Sheree Vejan, co-founder of the Goal Setters Club and author of the 2018 Goals Journal. So this is our 52 Mondays edition. So for those of you who are participating in our 52 Mondays weekly goal challenge, our goal is to break this year down one Monday at a time. And so today is Sunday, January 7th, and tomorrow will be week 2 of our 52 Mondays Goals Challenge. So if this is your first time joining us, make sure you have the following: your 2018 Goals Journal. Each week, remember to read my weekly blog post and do the exercise. Plan your week by using your 52 Mondays companion journal, which is free on my website. And then journal. Each month we focus on a particular goal category. And so this month we are focusing on our health and fitness goals. This week's topic is to assess the situation. And in this podcast, I want to encourage you to get a better understanding of who you are by taking the personality test and assessments. I did a podcast, I believe it was last week, called Do Your Prep Work, and where I gave you 9 suggestions on a few things that should be done before you put pen to paper to craft your 2018 goals. And one of them was to take an assessment. I like to always begin with a quote, and here's a quote by Carl Jung. He's one of the founders of one of the assessment tests. The meeting of 2 personalities is like the contact of 2 chemical substances. If there's any reaction, both are transformed. So when we were in grade school, we were always taking tests. That gave the teacher an idea on where we were academically, to see if we understood the material, to see if we knew our spelling words, to see if we can use them in a sentence, and that helped make sure we were on track for graduation. When you go to the doctor, complaining about an illness or symptom, the first thing they do is they want to take a blood test, they want to take a urine test, they want to take these series of tests to get a better understanding of who we are and what could be happening with our health. When you start a new job, they usually have you take a math test or some type of computer test, along now with a personality test to see how well you fit in with the current team. So when it comes to taking ourselves seriously, I feel like we should do the same thing, and I believe that we should do that before we begin to craft any goals for the new year. There's so many self-assessment tests available. However, they shouldn't limit who you are, but they should bring awareness to who you are and those close to you on why you behave the way you do and why you do certain things. And then based on knowing who you are, you can, act accordingly from there if there's anything you want to change. So do you know if you're an extrovert or introvert? Do you know your love language? Are you a positive or negative thinker? If you work in a church, have you taken your spiritual gifts test? You can get those answers to those questions by simply, taking a few assessments. I took a class last semester and we had to take 9 assessment tests, and I was both exhausted and excited at the same time. And for me, I was happy to finally be able to read what I've always felt about myself, but maybe didn't know how to put in words. So it was like a therapy session on paper. I also printed my results and placed them in a binder so I could look at it periodically, and I had my whole family take the test as well, so we can understand each other and how to interact with each other better here, at home. So I'm going to share a few of my results with you. Are you a positive or negative thinker? So I scored a 55 on the positive or negative thinker self-assessment. I did agree with the results. I feel like I generally have a positive and optimistic, outlook on life. I do take things a little personally, but I'm quick to change that feeling because I know it's not the right thinking. So 55, I scored on that. The multiple intelligences. Intelligence defines the way we approach and solve problems. We also use various methods that are natural to us, hence, multiple intelligences. So my top 3 were self, musical, and language. And then my highest 4 was social, interpersonal. So I'm just going to read like the self. You are very good. You have a very good sense of self. You like to spend time by yourself and think things over. You will often take in information from another person, mull it over by yourself, and come back to that person later to discuss it. You like working on projects on your own. You often prefer to learn by trial and error. Musical. You like the rhythm and sound of language. You like poems, songs, and jingles. You enjoy humming or singing along with music. You probably remember things well when they are associated with music or rhythm. Try to incorporate sounds into your lessons, such as using a familiar tune, song, or rap beat to teach spelling rules or to remember words in a series for a test. Language. You enjoy saying, hearing, and seeing words. You like telling stories. You are motivated by books, records, dramas, opportunities for writing, effective techniques of enhancing your learning using the language intelligence, including reading aloud, especially plays and poetry. So that's kind of an example of the breakdown of, after you take your test, they kind of tell you what you like, which you kind of know, but it's good to be able to have it written down. What's your love language? So the 5 love language assessment, that will help you discover your love language and begin improving your relationship. So my love language is acts of service. So for me, actions speak louder than words. And my favorite is the Myers-Briggs. And there are, I believe, 16 personalities in the Myers-Briggs assessment. And I am an INFJ. So the INFJ personality is very, very rare. You probably find us in the back of the club or the back of the room, sitting by ourselves, watching everybody. But the INFJ personality type is very rare, making up less than 1% of the population. But they nonetheless leave their mark on the world. As diplomats, they have an inborn sense of idealism and morality. But what sets them apart is the accompanying judging. The INFJs are not idle dreamers, but people capable of taking concrete steps to realize their goals and making a lasting positive impact. So I have about 4 pages of the description of the INFJ. There's a free version that you can take, and then there's the paid version. So I know I took the paid version a couple years ago, and then I have those results. So I'm going to create a page today called that has the podcast resources in it, so you'll be able to visit that page and check out the links that you need to take your assessment, and then feel free to share your results with me. Probably the best way to do that would be Twitter, at Vejan, VEJAUAN, and hashtag Goal Slayers. I also want to give you a few announcements on what I'm reading. What I'm reading this month, I'm currently reading the Daniel Fast, Feed Your Soul, Strengthen Your Spirit, and Renew Your Body by Susan Gregory. I've told you guys before, we do a Daniel Fast every year, and I kind of review that book every year. What's going on in the VIP group? So boot camp started on January 1st. We kicked it off with our 21-day Daniel Fast, and then we're going to be following that up with a 10-day juice reboot. So all that information will be available on my website too at ShereeVejan.com. Where to find me? January 8th, tomorrow, we'll be meeting up in Rancho Cucamonga. Bring your journals, bring your downloads, bring an open mind. So we're going to go through our journals together, and we're going to attack 2018 with a vengeance. January 20th, I'll be in Rancho also speaking at a conference, Ignite Your Vision. January 27th, I'll be in Culver City. February 5th, we'll be meeting up again in Rancho Cucamonga. Our topic that month will be relationships. February 10th, I'll be at the Corner Store in San Pedro. So again, I am Sheree Vejan, author of the 2018 Goals Journal. Feel free to share this podcast with your friends and family and encourage them to reach their goals. Have an awesome Sunday and a marvelous Monday.